the right way. Hello, my name is Harrington Botco, and we're back. We've been discussing issues even as we took that break. Just to keep you up for those who've just tuned in, we're talking about politics today. We've got the Secretary General for the COPA, that's the Council on Philippine Affairs. We've got Pastor Boy Saicon. Then from Lente, that's the we have an independent attorney. We have Sarah Jane Sukitan. Hello, thank you very much for being on the show. I'd like to start off the second set by asking that question, which I stopped right before we paused. Pastor Saicon, Boy Saicon, have you succeeded in the 20 years you have dabbled and participated, being a very strong body politic, supporting multiple candidates, multiple leaders, not necessarily leaders in that sense, but leaders as national candidates? Have you succeeded? And if not, why?
In fact, to answer you directly, no, I am actually writing a book on my involvement in many presidencies. And the title of the book is Why Presidencies Fail. Yes, there were successes, but the net effect is what is important. Not success because we won the election. That means nothing. That's just the beginning of the problem. Governance is the issue. My fair assessment today. Yes, I have failed. The state of the nation is left not to still have to reform itself. Too much has been done to damage it. A little was done to repair it. And we must continue in our efforts to build up by, as I said, providing now new leaders. We choose leaders, not just candidates or politicians, but leaders whose love, number one, love for country is impeccable, who understands the historical problem, both on the political and the economic problem of the country. But what is happening, why we fail, is because we just continuously do the same mistakes. It's a vicious cycle.
We commit the same mistakes.
We replace the person, and at the end of the day, that person is consumed by the old ways. They would enter as idealistic, but because of that system, we have a two-party system that's supposed to be now a multi-party system. Then it became now what we call a presidential system. All these things does not work. Our Congress and Senate does not agree with one another. No? Then it ends up to be a one-man control because our party system is not the true party system that we create. There's no convention. People do not choose their leaders. It's the leaders that choose. I create my party, you follow me, I have the money, I'm your candidate. That's not a convention. A true party system must go through a convention where the lowest member of the party must exercise the vote to choose the leader, which we have not done because Marcos destroyed it.
Yes, I agree with what Pastor Saicon here said, that we see one thing that I really lament is the loss of our platform-based politics. We just vote for whoever is personable to us, who's attractive to us, ganun na lang eh. Hindi na siya, unlike in the States or in other democratic systems, they have platforms which easily guide them through whatever wave of change they will encounter in both legislation, executive, or even in the judiciary. For example, here in the Philippines, as you said, I think you hit the nail right on its head when you said, whose responsibility is it when it comes to educating the electorate? Well, first of all, under the Constitution, it's the COMELEC. And we know that the COMELEC is short on resources. It's always an excuse. So a lot of people in the private sector, Lente included, try to, do its part. But still, kulang pa rin. And you see, an NGO like us, we cannot endorse, we cannot be a partisan NGO. We're definitely not that. We're an election watch group. And so when we say education, we need to educate the electorate as to what the election crimes involve, such as vote buying, selling your votes, and buying votes are both a criminal offense. So they're both a criminal. I mean, they're punishable under the law by imprisonment and the fine. And yet we disregard all this kasi everybody gets away with it, and everybody thinks that we have a tacit approval of it as a custom. So I mean, I really applaud you. I was asking you during the break, what is your stand with regard to vote buying and vote selling? And as you said, you will not engage in vote buying. See, that was criminalized for a reason. And again, it goes back to the rule on fair play. What if I'm a politician? In your case, if you're a politician that you don't have a budget for giving to voters to buy their votes, and then you have candidate B who can give 3,000 1,500 pesos per voter. So there is an even playing field right there, and people will naturally vote for, well, at least in the Philippines, I'm not sure if this will be true in other countries or in other societies, vote for those who, well, gave a monetary gave any form of consideration, be it a promise of a job, a promise of education for your children, scholarship, etc. Those are all considerations. Now, if you give it to me, I might actually exchange it for my vote. So in the long run, this vote buying and vote selling acts will be a bigger problem. Kasi as Mr. Saicon said, have we failed? Because we keep doing it over and over. We keep electing the same names. We don't even distinguish father and son, brother and sister, cousins, etc. Basta familiar yung name, iboto na lang natin. It shouldn't be that way.
But Attorney Sari, you work with Lente. That's an election watch group. Why don't you watch the COMELEC and tell them what's wrong? Sila may problema eh. Number one, they allow the registration of dynasties. Maliwanag sa batas eh. I challenged on my Facebook, sabi ko, 2013 is the time to challenge what is wrong and incorrect. Maybe, okay, the congressmen, the legislators will not address the rules and regulating guidelines, so to speak, because it affects them. Tama nga naman eh. But the COMELEC can say, hindi ka pwede. Mag-anak kayong dalawa eh. And really, it's going to sit down there with his son with the same name, Jack. And really, without question, is a legal luminary. And he's shown himself his ability to stay the politics. Never mind the past of martial law. But his durability and sitting there, generating an integrity in 2012 is totally amazing. But to bring his son in with the exact same name, I mean, linuloko ba natin ang taong bayan? The two magsaysay, I know mitos. But now another magsaysay is brought in. I mean, gee, it's muddling the issue for the voter. The Estradas, a convicted person who's been given amnesty, is going in his two sons. I only pity the vice mayor in Manila who thinks one day he will become a mayor. My gosh, the minute Arab sits and when he goes away, the children are going to hold that thing like a monarchy in Manila. It's going to be called Extrada City. We're going to get rid of the word Manila. Then we've got all the relatives. The Cayetanos are back. My gosh, is this now what we call the Philippines? Let's get the first letter of every name and change the name of the Philippines to them, because these are the new monarchies that are being created. I mean, I am totally amazed that we even allow our COMELEC to actually allow them to register when they know it is incorrect. And this morning, nakakasuka that they allowed the display of a violation so extravagant, so rude, right in front of their faces, and they smiled. And the news, nire-report ng news. Why can't the news report say, mga violators of the Constitution and the COMELEC, they're all violators. Hindi ganun ang news. Bakit ang news? Ito po nangyayari. You know, and then may smile. Gee, what is wrong with the country?
You know what's a jukebox, Mr. Tanwato?
Yes, I know, the jukebox king.
When you put a coin,
They perform.
they will perform, they'll just play the song that you want. No? So, at the end of the day, COMELEC is an institution that remains a permanent institution. Para bang yung kanyang role at work lang is during election time. Bakit yung education na gusto mo mangyari at gusto nating mangyari lahat, hindi nila gawin doon sa tinatawag na time of no election. Within
Yeah,
that,
the 3 years.
The 3 years. 3 years. So, ang dami naman nila kakong budget. Ngayon nga lang, ang laki ng budget nila. Pinag-aawayan pa lang, yung PICOS pa lang. Di ba, na kine-question na nga ng maraming tao.
Hindi, yung renta ng warehouse.
Ng warehouse na hindi naman magamit yung isang machine na ginamit nila, no? So what I'm just saying is, education, tama si attorney doon, no? Should come from them.
And
Now,
rule of law, they should follow it.
ang sagot naman nila, paano mo mapoprosecute when there is a willing buyer and willing seller? No? So, sabi nila, walang complainant. Kasi bakit? It's done, no? With intent by both sides, no? To benefit.
Boy, attorney, let's move forward. Let's look at fearless forecasts. We've got the Liberal, you've got the UNA. You've got the three in between. We lost one today. It's Joy De Venecia, because there's conflict between his president of his PDP, Labat, correct? Who ran for the Liberal Party, but he can no longer run now for the UNA, being the vice in charge, the next in charge of the same party, conflicting. You can't run on two different parties. So his position is lost forever. Sino magpapalit tingin mo kay Joy De Venecia sa UNA? Napalitan na.
Hindi kasi
Today, kanina,
kasi ganito, no? The prohibition and the allowance on substitution should be within the campaign period. Ngayon wala
So
pa
may
campaign
oras pa.
May oras pa yan.
But Joey did not register today with UNA.
Kaya nga, nag-withdraw siya ngayon, so that means may bakante.
Hanggang Biyernes.
Kaya hindi applicable yung law of substitution sa kanya.
Oh, hindi nga.
Okay, dahil hindi pa na siya nagpapail eh. Now, sino mga maari na tumakbo dyan?
Ikaw, anong fearless forecast?
Alam mo, kaibigan ko rin yan si Manong Jo. Baka si Joe De Venecia ang tatakbo.
The old man.
The old man.
Oh, mas lumakas yung slate.
Alin?
Mas lumakas ang slate.
Hindi. Saka maraming pera yun eh. Yung anak
You know,
wala
you
naman.
say it so candidly. This is really interesting. I didn't expect to go in this direction in this show. We openly say it, ang daming pera. We've mentioned it. Ang eleksyon ba, harap-harapan ng media, ito, labas na natin.
Oo.
Pera-pera lang talaga.
Pera-pera lang yan.
So, lahat ng tumatakbo,
No, it's
naglalabas ng pera, tapos ibabalik, kukunin din nila yan, hahanapin nila yan.
ang unang, pagka nag-uusap sa caucus, no? Tatanungin, o kakandidato ka ba? O magkano nakahanda mong itaya?
Hayop naman.
Gaganon yan. No. I've been present to all of these caucuses.
That is illegal.
No. But that is their own, as I said, no, volition in saying,
Okay.
may nakaprepare po ako itong 500 million.
Okay. Let's assume you do 500 million. You're coming in on a 6-year position with a salary of 45,000 per month. Multiply that in the 6 years the person's going to be there.
Hindi mo mababawi doon yung
Yeah.
boss. Sa CDF kukunin yun. Sa PDAP kukunin
So,
yun.
in other words, pag kukunin mo sa PDAF yun, ninanakaw mo.
Ano pa ba naman mangyayari dyan?
Ang nangyayari, the COMELEC is allowing all of them, because it's a common fact, or we say it so openly, na magnanakaw lahat ng tumatakbo.
Abay, hindi ko sinasabi magnanakaw, mangungupit.
You know, boy,
Oh.
I enjoy your candidacy, your candidness, and your humble honesty
No,
and
because
straightforward.
Ako'y napasok dyan. Kaya nga ako rin nasusuka din. But I suffer in silence. Kaya nga ako, I still exert effort to try to choose the better elements of our election.
In Lente, you know, abogada ka, this is illegal. You know this. You're not supposed to
okay.
steal money from the government. Di ba? In the Robin Hood syndrome. Kaya lang, yung Robin Hood na nakawaming mayaman, bibigay mo sa pobre. Ito, ang mayaman, pinalitan natin, nanakawan ko ang gobyerno, bibigay ko sa taong bayan. Pero unlike Robin Hood, it's 1 for you, 10 for me. 1 for you, 20 for me. Ganun nangyayari. Kaya makikita mo lahat sila, kung maglakad, maraming bodyguard, maraming kaibigan, maraming kotse.
Attorney, can I give an example? No?
Sige, go ahead.
I will cite what my experience was. We elected 2 congressmen in our district in Nueva Ecija. We campaigned, we had no party, we have no budget. We were fighting against an incumbent congressman with all the PDAF and CDF that he has. So we were fighting that this time.
Ang hirap.
No? Di ba? We won, we prevailed. Ang aming banner, sako. Pinintahan, dyaryo. Okay? Ano ba nangyari? Wala pang isang buwan. The very scene that we fought were adopted by the candidate I supported and joined and partook of the scene.
Of the pangungupit.
1 month. And until today, pag narasalubong ko yan, I'm sorry to say, na minumura ko. Wala silang masabi sa akin.
In a perfect setting, level playing field and all, people will elect those who not only have the competence but also have the dedication for the job, because public office is a public trust. But we all know that that's not the reality. Whenever I watch TV, I just wonder how come all these showbiz personalities want to enter into politics and want to be re-elected over and over again. And it just dawned on me that, wait, hey, winning an elective seat is a profitable undertaking. That's why they want to keep doing it. You see, you only have a term, 3 years local or 6 years if you win in the Senate or as a president, vice president. But they want to keep getting re-elected. They want to keep that power, that position of power, because it has been a very lucrative affair for them. But then in the end, what the electorate should realize, and this is what we should all educate, aside from the criminal offenses and all of the kumbaga bawal at hindi bawal during elections, is that the mark of a good leader will be tangible in terms of the quality of life of you as a person, as part of the electorate. So if it is not spilling over to your quality of life, then you should blame yourself, because you made that decision 3 years ago in the past elections, or in 6 elections, 6 years back.
We've reached the top of the hour, and we're going to have to close the show. But I always like to give my guests the last 1 to 2 minutes to give your message to our viewer. Let's start with you, Attorney Sarah Jane Sukitan of Lempton.
Well, the Legal Network for Truthful Elections really promote clean elections, truthful elections, so that we can determine the will of the people. But we can only do that through legal means. Let us not commit any election offenses. Hopefully, slow by slow, sabi nga nila. So, and really, vote buying, vote selling, that will always be the biggest issue, especially this coming elections.
Thank you very much. We have Pastor Saicon of Secretary General of the COPA Council for Philippine Affairs. Boy.
Thank you very much, Harry, and I just want to enjoin the Filipino people. Join us. Together with us, let us choose our leaders. Let us not allow just politicians out of popularity be those that will lead, because they cannot lead. They will try to govern, but they cannot really govern. So, again and again, we said, not just to vote wisely. Let us fight together and turn our backs on traditional politics. Talikuran natin yung mga trapo na yan. Pag nakita mong kumakanta, nagkakantahan, nagbibigay, all we have to do is turn our backs on them. Hindi na balik. Magutom tayo ngayon, sasagana naman tayo sa kinabukasan. Salamat.
I'm touched by the ending speeches. To steal from the people is disgusting. It's debilitating. To make a career out of government is shameful. To be rich and to have amassed all this wealth from spurious means and bad means will only bring back bad karma to you. We've got the elections in front. I still believe in the President Noynoy Aquino. I believe that he's personally a good man. I believe his role, his platform, matuwid na daan, is still correct. Walang korap, walang mahirap. He is scandal-free. His patience may be running out. I don't seem to understand why the political Liberal Party was created in such the way that it is today. But I do still have hope for the President. And I'd like to think that at least we have something to aspire for. We have a leader who is doing what is right and correct. However, tradition, just because it's tradition, need not be followed. And we have to get rid of it. This tradition, what we call tradition, is wrong. It is so wrong. Mali po yan, mali ang ginagawa natin. Kung ano ang mali, mali talaga. Hindi mo pwede gawing tama pag mali na naman ang gagawin mo. Yan ang hilig natin. Ipipilit natin kung ano ang hindi tama, baka sakalit tumuwid. Hindi po tutuwid yan. Now, as Filipinos, if we sit idly by at payagan natin lahat na nangyayari, ang mangyayari niyan, tayo ang nagiging problema. When a businessman does not answer and does not make any decision, do you know what that means? It's a no. When you don't make a decision and you say nothing, that means sang-ayon ka. There is only one way to perform, and that's to stand up and say, mali yan, hindi ka dapat nariyan. And say it with determination. I'm doing it, why aren't you? Thank you very much. We hope you've enjoyed our program. Thank you very much.
Salamat.
Thank you, Harry.
You are what you watch.